Just not very impressive. He suggests you make flashcards. It's nice. Maybe update to the computer age, Rolf. Ruben finds Chess the Easy Way a classic. It's a good book, but it's hard to read. Not enough diagrams. Written in an old-school, stilted style. I'd rather just read Rosario's book, which uses the same principle, so I'll give it a C. Beautiful chess tactics book by Littlewood. Very simple, elegant explanations of the tactics, with lots of puzzles. For relatively beginner players. And one of the nice things is he includes how to defend against these tactics, as well as how to exploit the tactics. It's just a great book. Probably the best introductory tactics book I have. I'll give it a B. Now MacDonald. We get to one of the good MacDonald books. Chess, The Art of Logical Thinking. A wonderful move-by-move annotated game collection. I've worked through about a third of it. Just a joy to read, and focuses on positional factors for the most part, and some tactics and some of the sidelines when he has to explain why he didn't make this move or that move. I'll give that a B. I would like to read that. Chess Tactics for Kids. I've got enough tactics book, and this is in the same theme as the How to Beat Your Dad at Chess, which I'll be getting to. So here's the pages on the skewer. It'll give a little description with an explanation of what it is, and then some examples. I haven't read it. I don't think I will, so I'll give it a C. Well, this was a stupid purchase. Dangerous Weapons, How to Dazzle Your Opponents with the Nimzo Indian. It has some fun gambit lines, but I don't play the Nimzo Indian. This is a pretty advanced book. It was stupid for me to buy it. But if you want to find some offbeat playable lines in the Nimzo Indian, use that. This is a very good book. Play the Nimzo Indian by Deering. I would give this a B if I played it, but I don't plan on playing it, so I'm going to give it a C. But it seems very thorough, very, very good, exceptionally good explanations of the general strategies that you're supposed to follow. Highly recommended. And the Bible. Oh, the Bible! I'm so funny. Michael de la Mesa, The Inspiration Behind the Knights Errant. Of course, I have to give that a B, just because I'm going to hold on to it. You can find the content of that book online. He advocates the Shigorin variation. Not thorough enough for me. There's a lot of minor sidelines that I see all the time in practice that he didn't cover, which pisses me off, so I'll give it a D. Simple Chess by Steen. I have an extended quote from this book on my website, on my blog. Beautiful book on chess strategy. Some really nice nuggets of wisdom in there. I haven't read through the whole thing. I've read a little bit of it. It was a little above my level previously, but I think I'm about ready for it now. I'll give it a B. It's worth reading. This book on the Vienna game by Lane doesn't really have anything new that I didn't have in my other books, so I'll give it a C, and I'm not playing that anymore. Sicilian Grand Prix. This was a good book, very thorough, not a whole lot of explanations of strategy, but lots of various lines, and I used it for my Grand Prix repertoire when I was playing that. I'll give it a C because I don't plan on playing that. Just the Facts, an endgame book from Albert and Krugerus. This is a good book, but I'm going to stick with Silman, so I'll give it a C, not because it deserves a C, but just because I'm not going to use it most likely. It grieves me a little bit to give that up. It's really good, a little bit above my level, I think. Mastering the Nimzo Indian. Didn't really read that very much. I'm not going to play it. I'll give it a C. The classic, Think Like a Grandmaster. I'll give it a C. Well, no, I'll give that a B. I want to hold on to this just because it's a classic. Not a great book, but Kotov's tree is something we've all climbed, and I think maybe I'd just like to have this on my bookshelf to look like I'm a badass, even though I suck at chess. Another classic, Logical Chess Move by Move. I actually don't like this book that much. I'll hold on to it because it's a classic. His Queen's Gambit decline games are all losses from black, which I think is ridiculous. It is a bit repetitive and simplistic. There's been a lot of criticisms aimed at, but overall it's a very fun read. You can almost read it without a board, but I still need a board there. For a few of the games, there's a few too many moves between showing diagrams, but I'll put it in the B pile, just I'm going to keep it. Gambit Tier 1 by Davies. This is a great book. He's got a really nice description of the Danish Gambit, the knight takes on C3 version, which I've had a lot of success with. It's a very fun opening. Not super thorough. One thing I like about it is it's not covered in many other books from black's perspective. So there's just not a lot written on it. So you're playing chess early on. You're down a pawn, but you can usually get it back if you don't win soon. At any rate, the games are fun. I'll keep that. It's a B. Gambit Tier 2, on the other hand, don't like it. It's not a very complete repertoire. It covers 2 openings for black. It covers what you should do against the Roy, the Schliemann defense, and against the Queen's Gambit. And I think it's the Albin counter gambit. Yep. So that's all it covers. Roy Lopez and Queen's Gambit. Although there is a good... Chapter 10 is pretty good on what to do if white goes to knight f3. I'm not going to play either of those, so I'm not going to keep it. I'll give it a C. Maybe it almost deserves a D. Bishop's Opening Explained. It's pretty good, but it doesn't add anything to what I've already got, and I don't play that opening anymore, so I'll give it a C. Heisman's book, Elements of Positional Evaluation, a very fun book about how the pieces get their power. He talks about supposed pseudo-factors like material value and space, and really tries to reduce everything to other factors such as piece activity, which is really reduced to mobility, and there are different types of mobility, such as potential mobility, that is if you removed all the pieces, what would the mobility of the piece be? Actual mobility, given the situation the piece is in, how mobile is it? And that's really what determines the value of the pieces. It's just a rough summary of some of the ideas. I think I'll hold on to that book, so I'll give it a B. It was hard to find. I hated this book, Chess Opening Traps, and just a bunch of little chess traps you can do in the opening. It's not very helpful and not very fun. Not enough diagrams. Art of Attack in Chess. I know there's a cult that loves this book. That makes me tempted to keep it because maybe I'll like it someday, but I'm going to give it a C. I think I'm just going to get rid of it. Book on the Martial Attack. I don't play that anymore. This was a very good book, though. I remember it being pretty thorough. But the problem with the Martial Attack for beginners like me is you rarely reach it. It's like around move 9 that the martial really starts, and by then 90% of beginners have deviated as white, so you don't have a chance to play it. So I'll give it a C. Another very good Grand Prix attack book. This one's by Lane, not as good as the other one by Plankett. But I'll give it a C. I'm not playing that anymore. I guess my dog chewed up the other version I showed you, or it got wet, so I bought another one. I'll put that with the B pile. 303 Tricky Chess Tactics. I can just use software for this kind of thing now, so I'll just give it a C. They're good tactics, they're intermediate level, but I think I have enough tactics stuff. Owner's Defense by Wall, Game Dump, D. It's when you reply 1b6 as black to everything. As is this. Another Game Dump, piece of crap, D. The Open Spanish by Mikhail Krasnikov. This was a good book, but I don't play the Open Spanish, so I'll give it a C. This is a bunch of quizzes where you're shown a position and 4 or 5 different suggestions for how to move. So 5 different suggestions from Bob, Andy, Carol, Dave, Eddie, and then you have to pick the right explanation. That's actually a really good style. I like this book, actually. I think I'll hold on to it. I haven't used it, so I was caught up in the cult of the circles. Weapons of Chess by Pandolfini, a very nice little kind of encyclopedia of chess strategy, organized alphabetically. So like most of his stuff, it's not systematized into a really useful kind of coherent theory like Silman's work is, but it's got some nice little nuggets. It's good bedtime reading or toilet reading, so I'll give it a B.